I recently got a very interesting question. Do I still need a CTO for my startup? Could I replace a CTO by ChatGPT? Let's answer this question in details. Hi and welcome, I'm Amaury, founder and CEO at My CTO Friend, where founders come to learn how to build their tech startup. And with this Startup Snack series available on both podcast and YouTube, we want to share the essential to make it easier for you to build your tech startup. And nowadays, ChatGPT changed a lot of things, and we could even wonder, do I still need a CTO for my company? Actually, maybe do I still need a team for my company? Okay, we're going to focus on the CTO question. So in the early days of a startup, what is important to remember is finally, what are the roles of a CTO? Let's picture a startup project with a startup founder that has no technical background. He wants to create maybe a web platform with a mobile application to provide a specific service that does not exist yet. Could we just consider asking ChatGPT, can you please code my application? Actually, you can even try, but the answer will be something like, ChatGPT only provides you the process or the pseudocode or logical steps that to create a specific function. That means that ChatGPT is an excellent co-coder for someone who already knows how to code. Basically, thanks to ChatGPT, a coder can save between 30 to 50% of their time thanks to the help of the algorithm. It is really effective with junior developers that sometimes try things and they don't understand why it's not working, etc. In that case, they can be coached by ChatGPT to correct their code. For senior developers, it's not as effective as it could be for junior, but they can still save maybe 10 to 20% of their time, especially if they use the right tools. Yes, because they are not only ChatGPT, but they are also proper software that can help coder with the help of AI. So to answer to the question, do I still need a CTO to build my startup? The answer is unfortunately yes, at least as of today. And for you to understand this answer, let's analyze what are actually the roles and duties of an early stage startup CTO. The first role of a CTO is to actually be a product manager. Product manager is basically the person who is going to help and challenge the founder idea and find shortcuts, basically to eliminate unnecessary features and focusing on what is really matter for our customer. Thanks to the product manager, we can then use less manpower to produce more outcome for our customers. This role in any type of company is usually one specific person, but when you are in the early stage of a startup, usually the founders need to be coached by a real product manager to basically create the first version of their software. Then the second role of the CTO in the early stage is actually to be what I called an innovator. An innovator is someone who knows how to build things with almost nothing. Basically, to reuse existing component, product, assembling existing technologies, because you need to know that any type of startup ideas, if you want to create that software, 90% of what you want to create already exists. So the real goal of a CTO and the innovator role is to identify pieces of technologies that we can assemble, like Lego blocks, to build something that will be your first version, your first MVP, for instance, which means minimum viable product. And this role is the hardest to cover because you need to have someone who has tons of expertise with tons of technologies and not really focus on one or two language or specific technologies. Because sometimes we're going to mix code, no code, open source softwares, etc. SaaS softwares as well, APIs available to mix and to build something in the best budget possible. And it is only after identifying all these pieces of technologies that it will lead us to choose the proper developer, the proper no-coder or agency that is really focused and that has a specific expertise on the adapted technology. And that leads me to the role number 3 of the startup CTO in the early stage, which is the manager role. Because as a CTO, we are responsible of people who basically will build things. We need to find them, we need to challenge them, we need to analyze and audit the code they produce or the platform they produce. We need to sometimes even test and and just provide some feedbacks to improve the final product. And don't get me wrong, the CTO don't have all the answers. Most of the time, the CTO will have identified some experts and he will learn from these experts, and they're gonna ask to the experts on a specific technology, okay, how can we push things forward? What are the opportunities, the technical opportunities that we have on this technology that could help us maybe do things faster or maybe to bring more features to our final customers? And that's a win-win communication between developers, CTOs, and business owners to just make the most between the technology and the customer's needs. So basically the entire process will be 1, to have your product idea, 2, to choose the technology, then from the technology to choose the right developer, no-coder agencies, then to do a deep dive into the opportunity offered by the chosen technologies, and eventually, if you cannot find a proper solution, because most of the time developers will just suggest what they know, then to search outside of the chosen technology to combine several technologies and maybe several developers or providers, because by combining sometimes no coder and coder, we can do beautiful things. And that's also the role of the CTO, is to be aware of the existing technologies and their own limitation and how we can make the most of what already exists. Basically, to not reinventing the wheels. And that leads me to the last important role of a CTO, which is the IT expert role. And this is usually the lack of this role that is responsible of conflicts between startup founders, providers, or their technical team. Because non-technical founders have no idea of the technical decision that we have to make or that have to be made by the provider. And above all, they are not able to challenge the decision made by providers. So the providers will invest basically their time in what they already know. And basically they will tend to stay in their comfort zone. While you, as a business owner, you need to be sure that the technical decision and the decision you're going to make are the best for your business. So basically the goal of the provider is to make money and to sell you maybe more hours of development of what they already master, and not to search or just to dabble on technology they do not master, and they're going to waste a lot of time. They won't be able to charge you. While you as a founder is to really be sure that the technology is really effective with what you want to create. And if the current developers or providers cannot master a specific part of the technology, then that's not a big deal. We can bring someone new in the team and make them work with it. And it's something that is sometimes hard to come up with specific providers. And that's why the IT expertise of the CTO is very important, because this is the person who is going to make the final decisions when it comes to build the architecture of your solution. So in a nutshell, can we build a startup without a CTO? And as of today, no. The answer is no, even if we have ChatGPT. ChatGPT can teach you to become maybe a coder, maybe to learn some skills of becoming a CTO, but it's going to take you years to have the level required to build a successful startup. But instead, having the right CTO guidance can help you find the proper technology and then maybe save up to 5x the development cost of your prototype, basically. It's very often that when you ask for a quotation to some providers, they provide you quotes between 50K to 200K, while you could sometimes start with like 5 to 20K, depending, of course, on the complexity of your software. So I hope this topic helped you. And if you have any question, as usual, you can, of course, suggest a topic by dropping us a comment on YouTube or Instagram. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to hearing from you. And you can, of course, check our website, myctofriend.co. I will see you there. Bye.